Hello everybody, this is Lola, and today we're going to be talking about Lyme disease in dogs, and more specifically the RECOMBITEK Lyme vaccine produced by Boehringer Ingelheim. So today we're going to start off with this giant stuffed flea here is going to be playing the role of a tick. Unfortunately, I don't have a giant stuffed tick, so you're just going to have to use your imagination. So right there. So basically, to start off with, Lyme disease is caused by the bacterium called Borrelia burgdorferi. Dogs don't usually get Lyme disease directly from other dogs. They get it from infected ticks that bite them and feed long enough to transmit the bacteria. So first off, let's pretend this tick bites Lola. Alright, so if Lola's not vaccinated and this tick is carrying the Borrelia burgdorferi what do you call it, pathogen, the bacteria can eventually move from the tick and into her body if it stays attached for long enough. So in dogs, it's especially hard because Lyme disease can be tricky. Some dogs don't show signs right away. Others might develop a fever, limping, joint pain, or appetite loss, or potentially more serious cases, kidney issues. The annoying thing about ticks is that it's not really just like a deep woods in the middle of the summer problem like a lot of people tend to think. Dogs can be exposed in grassy areas, leaf litter, shrubs, yards, hiking spots, or even just when traveling on the road. So this is where the vaccination comes in. So if we look right here, I got my vaccine right here. Got my, what do you call that? My Lyme vaccine. So the RECOMBITEK Lyme vaccine is a canine Lyme vaccine made by Boehringer Ingelheim. It's USDA licensed. It's a USDA licensed veterinary biologic, and the USDA product summary lists it as the Borrelia burgdorferi bacterial extract. The vaccine is given subcutaneously, which basically means underneath the skin, but the cool part is actually how the vaccine works. So the RECOMBITEK Lyme vaccine contains a purified protein called OspA, which stands for outer surface protein A. OspA is found on the outside of the Borrelia burgdorferi when the bacteria are actually still living inside of the tick. So when Lola gets vaccinated, her immune system sees the OspA as foreign, and her B cells respond to that antigen and make antibodies against it. So now, instead of waiting for the bacteria to already be inside of her body, Lola has antibodies pre-made waiting ahead of time. So pretend now we're going to give Lola her vaccine. Whoa, look at that, all vaccinated. Alright, so since Lola just got vaccinated, her immune system's now been trained to recognize that OspA. So now we can take our fake tick back we have right here. So we got that. So this is the part that I think is actually really interesting about that vaccine. The vaccine doesn't actually work by fighting the Lyme bacteria after they're already inside of Lola. Instead, it helps fight the bacteria inside of the tick. So an infected tick feeds on a vaccinated dog, like right now. It drinks some of the dog's blood, and that blood contains the dog's anti-OspA antibodies. Those antibodies enter the tick along with its delicious blood meal and bind to the Borrelia burgdorferi inside the tick's gut. And they help stop the bacteria from growing and moving to the tick's salivary glands by actually essentially, I was described to it essentially like velcroing it to the tick's gut so it's unable to migrate to the salivary glands. So basically, tick comes here, tries to use Lola as lunch, but accidentally drinks up the antibodies that help block the bacteria before they're able to make it back into her system. That's why the vaccine's pretty intuitive. I think it's really cool. The vaccine essentially trains the dog to make antibodies against OspA, and then those antibodies help block transmission of the bacterium by velcroing it to the tick's gut, not allowing it to migrate to the salivary glands and enter Lola's system. So that doesn't mean the vaccine's a magic force field. No vaccine's perfect, and the Lyme vaccine doesn't prevent every tick bite or tick-borne disease. So even if a dog's vaccinated, the owners still need to use year-round tick prevention. There's also possible side effects, as with any vaccine. The manufacturer notes that in rare cases, vaccines can cause things like lethargy, fever, inflammation, or hypersensitivity type reactions. So it's something you should discuss with your veterinarian, especially if the dog has a history of vaccine reactions or other health concerns. So overall, I would say my argument is that the RECOMBITEK Lyme vaccine is pretty interesting because it targets a very specific part of the Lyme disease transmission process. The simple version is this, Lola gets vaccinated, her immune system makes antibodies against the OspA. If an infected tick bites and feeds on her later, those antibodies can enter the tick and help block the transmission of the Borrelia burgdorferi before it gets transmitted back into Lola through her salivary glands. The vaccine's not a replacement for tick prevention, but it's an extra layer of protection on top of it. I'd also like to give a very special thank you to Adam and Andrea, the Boehringer Ingelheim product reps, kind enough to walk me through some of the science behind the vaccine over the phone and provide me with a lot of helpful material. It made the mechanism way easier to understand. So that's going to be my video presentation. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.